Hello, it's Judy from Itchypalmsgardens. This week we're talking about our Gargoyle Garden. It's a garden that was created sort of by accident because it was originally just a pile of rocks that my very generous brother-in-law Peter gave us when we first shifted into the property about 18 years ago. But since then, the very generous pile of rocks has been obstacles for my boys to jump up and down on their bikes, and then I finally got my own way and we created a garden around them. It's our Gargoyle Garden and we really like it. The trees have got shady and it's a nice place to come out and have breakfast, lunch or dinner, and it's just a nice place to be. Here is an aerial view of our property, and as I said earlier, we are talking about the Gargoyle Garden today, which is here. Here is a simple map with two entrances or exits. Here we have a table and chairs to sit at and relax. The stone wall is a gentle W shape across the back. These are garden beds. This is our little anthill. Here is a lovely grey weeping conifer. This is one of 3 gargoyles in the Gargoyle Garden. You enter the Gargoyle Garden over a little bridge with 2 tall pencil conifers, one each side. This is the right-hand entrance on the map I drew. Yes, that is a white mailbox there, and you might ask why. It's not an original idea. I got it from a garden show once. It's about 50 metres from the shed here. To save me a long walk to the shed for a hose connector or some ties or whatever I think I might need, I just keep them in a little mailbox. I've got 3 on the property at different ends, just so I don't have to walk so far. And there's our little anthill. Directly ahead is an earthenware pipe with a sedum growing out of it. Living in a dry climate, I've found that sedums are becoming one of my favourite plants because they're so hardy and they have really good form and lovely flowers. There are white flag irises all the way along the back of the gargoyles there. My sister Christine gave me a bag full once and I planted them out and they've multiplied. I often joke with her because she was getting rid of the irises, but she didn't realise she'd put one of her special irises in with it too, so I got a bonus. There's a standard olive tree right in the middle, and behind them are oleanders, a row of hot pink oleanders, and behind that a row of double pink oleanders. This is our beautiful standard grey weeping cypress. There's a border of purple agapanthus, and underneath this ash tree there is a European fan palm, which is a clumping palm. With our cold winters, I am limited to what sort of palm trees we can grow here, but European fan palms are one of the ones we do grow well. Now with this sweeping turn, we look back at the ant's nest, which Paul made for me. More of the Gargoyle Garden in a moment, but I just want to show you something. I found this old pool filter at the tip a while ago and just couldn't leave it there. I've converted it into a self-watering pot. The pot fits neatly into the pool filter. When I was potting it up, I put a rope down through the soil and through the bottom of the potholes and let the rope go right down to the bottom of the pool filter. It's the type of rope that absorbs water but won't rot easily. I'm figuring there should be enough water in that reservoir to quench the pot for at least 12 months. So that's one less potted plant I'll have to chase after with the hose through the summer. There's a very tough periwinkle planted in it, so here's hoping that it will grow like this. I'll keep you posted in future episodes as to its progress. Back to the Gargoyle Garden. It's nice to have colour in the winter, so I have jonquils planted underneath the ash trees. These are paper whites. They go totally down in the summer when the water is sparse, and they come up in the winter and flower all winter. Here's a nice shot of the hot pink oleander that flowers all summer. These are the white irises again that I got from Christine. Most of the oleanders on the property I've grown from cuttings. I love oleanders because they're so tough. This is the grey weeping standard conifer a couple of years ago. Another shot of a little sedum in the earthenware pipe. Here's some acanthus that grows quite well here too. These are the busy little ants being very industrious in the sunshine. I love the ash trees on our property because they are cool and hardy and they self-mulch. Every year they drop their leaves and there's a beautiful layer of mulch on the ground. This is a midsummer shot with the jonquils asleep, taken a few years ago. This shot was taken this spring featuring the mailbox again. Whatever I put in it is safe from the weather. Sadly, like in most gardens, you do lose some plants. Originally, I did have 2 weeping conifers, one each side of the seats, but now I only have 1. Why is it one of a pair always dies, or the third from the end of a row? Yes, this garden doesn't look that great all the time. In late summer, the irises go down a little because they don't have a lot of water. It doesn't take them long to recover though. I almost forgot. In the Gargoyle Garden, I have a nice row of dead horse lilies underneath the ash tree. They come up in the spring and have a striking burgundy flower. Unfortunately, they live up to their name though. They do smell like rotting flesh, so it's not a good idea to take them inside and put them in a vase. The foliage on the dead horse lily too is very nice. It's got very spotty trunks and I always look forward to them coming up in the spring. But by midsummer they're almost gone again, back into the ground. I reckon a dead horse lily is quite a fitting plant for a gargoyle garden. What do you think? Now there's one last thing I'd like to show you this week. This is my bonsaied honeysuckle, and it does have a rather funny story behind it. One day when I was at my sister Christine's garden having a look around with my mother at all her beautiful plants, I noticed that she had dug something out of the ground. Now I must mention here that my mother is a very competitive gardener, which isn't such a bad thing. She's always looking for a plant that's a bit more special than anybody else's. So much so that it's a bit of a joke among the rest of the family. Anyway, Christine walked up and sighed and said, "Oh, I'm digging that out. It hasn't done very well. I'm going to try something else in that spot instead." The plant had barely any leaves on it and had a big gnarly stem. So I said, "Oh, so it's just going on the burning pile?" Christine shrugged and said yes, and then she laughed and said, "Oh, do you want it, Judy?" Mum chimed in at this stage and said, "Oh, what do you want to do with that?" She said, "Oh, that looks like it's dead." I questioned Christine again and asked if she was sure she didn't want it, and she definitely didn't want it. So I took it home and they were all laughing at me until they saw my new bonsai in full flower. Now whenever Mum sees it, she says, "That should have been mine. I wanted that." I'll never forget that day, and it's a lovely memory to keep of my mother and my sister too. Next time we'll show you our dam at Itchypalmsgardens, which I've named Palm Cove, which is a bit flash, but it's our little wonderland, so we can name it what we like. And I hope I've inspired you. Thanks very much.